Every title-challenging team has that midfielder, the one who makes the game bend their way. Rodri for City, Kante for Chelsea, Busquets for Barca. For Brighton, it's Carlos Baleba, and he could be that player for United. Left-footed, fearless, closes space like a centre-back, escapes pressure like a number 10, sees passing lanes most never spot. This isn't just another prospect, this is a player who can flip a match in 3 touches. Watch the first touch. Side on, back foot, pressure gone before it arrives. And when the game flips, he doesn't hesitate. He eats the ground, wins it back, and starts again. That blend is the headline. In the next few minutes, you're going to see the exact moments, the tiny details that could turn any ordinary season into a title charge. Let's set the scene properly. Carlos Baleba grows up in Douala, and like a lot of kids who end up in midfield, he starts wider and higher before the game gradually funnels him into the engine room. Lille bring him over in 2022, and a year later, Brighton move decisively in August 2023. The first months are about learning the language of the role at Premier League speed, receiving with pressure on the back, understanding when not to force a pass, and building the fitness to repeat high-intensity actions over and over. What stands out is the rate of adaptation. The mistakes get smaller, the decisions get quicker, and the sequences start looking repeatable rather than streaky. If you look at how Brighton recruit, you can see where they leaned in here. He's got the body to play in traffic, but the footwork to exit it, which is a rare combination at 6. Coaches will tell you they can teach when to jump or when to hold, but you can't really teach composure on the first touch, and he has that. Early on, he's mostly getting short cameos. That's fine. The habits are what matter. Take pressure, keep poise, then push the team 10 or 15 yards up the pitch. You hear people around the club call him one for the future, and that's not a platitude. It's an observation about his range. He can win the ball like a specialist destroyer, and yet he's also comfortable being the link that turns a regain into a structured attack. The education phase is about timing. When to press, when to form the rest defence, when to gamble, and he starts putting those decisions together more consistently across the season.
Let's talk about his default role. In a high-pressing side, he tends to live on the right of a double pivot. That means he's doing 2 jobs at once, shielding the back line and presenting as a clean outlet when your centre-back or keeper needs a pressure release pass. The best version of him is the one that shows early, receives properly, and escapes on the half-turn without needing a second touch. The passing picture is sensible rather than flashy. He can clip the diagonal if the fullback is free, but most of his value comes from splitting lines on the floor and playing the next action quickly. In the season sample, he ranked 9th in his cohort for completed long passes. Defensively, the reads show up as interceptions in good zones and block passes that kill rhythm before it becomes an attack, 65 in total last season. That's the difference between activity and control. When you stack his defensive events, you notice where they happen. There are a lot of regains in the middle third and a healthy dose of what analysts call aggressive recoveries, those little sprints to the second ball that keep the pressure on. In this dataset, he placed 5th for possessions won in the middle third, 3rd for aggressive recoveries, 7th for interceptions per 90, and 7th for successful block passes. The picture is about territory as much as tackles. Press resistance isn't a trick, it's a routine. He opens his body, lets the ball roll across the back foot, and uses that first touch to delete an opponent. From there, the carry is about 2 strong strides through contact, not a 30-yard dribble. It buys your 10s time to face forward, and it stops your centre-backs from being dragged into needless long passes. It's why he sits in roughly the upper quartile for progressive carrying distance, despite a lower touch volume last season. Those first 2 strides do the heavy lifting. There's a mechanical piece that helps all of this. He's got a low centre of gravity for his size, a strong core and a long stride, which means he can ride contact and still make the angle for the pass. If a marker comes through him, he absorbs it. If they stab at the ball, he's already protecting it with his hips. Most sequences are short to secure, short to move the block, then a punchy forward ball when a lane opens. The important thing is that the forward pass is a choice rather than a bailout. That's what coaches mean when they talk about control with verticality. The numbers back up the eye test. Recoveries sit at roughly 6.7 per 90. Take on success around 62%, and he contests about 6.8 duels a game at Premier League volume. Add a tidy completion rate and some carrying-led chance chains, and you're looking at a 6 who comfortably borrows a few 8 traits when the picture allows.
Let me show you 3 sequences that explain the player better than any graphic. There's a turnover, and for a split second, the shape is broken. Watch how quickly he recognizes the danger line. He covers ground in those first 5 yards, adjusts his body so he isn't square, and then wins the tackle before the opponent can even lift their head. That's not just effort, it's timing and angles. This is my favorite example of recovery speed. He's literally on the deck as the move flips, and yet the next picture you see is him closing the lane with his shoulder in the right place. It turns a probable break into a harmless sideways pass. Those moments keep your block high. Sometimes the high line gets caught, and you need an emergency decision. Lesser sixes retreat and hope. He accelerates forward, judges the weight of the runner's touch, and takes the ball cleanly before the sprint really starts. It's a calculated gamble that he wins because his first 3 steps are explosive. This one is all about persistence. After the turnover, most players would hold their position to protect against the counter. He keeps going, closes the keeper, and turns a clearance into a ricochet that becomes a chance. That's counter-press as chance creation, not just damage limitation. From a set press, he reads the path of the next touch and steals it on the edge of the box. What I like is the finish. Head steady, first touch out of his feet, and no panic when the goalkeeper rushes. It tells you he can end the move as well as start it when the situation falls that way. Let's connect this to United. Over the past seasons, the midfielders needed 3 things: a first outlet that doesn't panic under pressure, ball winning that doesn't turn into constant fouling, and some verticality that doesn't throw away control of the game. On a simple comparison, Baleba sits right at the top for recoveries per 90, about 6.7. His take on success is roughly 62%, and his dual load averages around 6.8 a match. That mix lets your press stick, keeps attacks alive higher up, and means you don't have to live in emergency defending quite as often. In build-up, he's essentially a valve. The back foot received deletes a touch, the body shape invites a presser, and the first carry changes the angle of the whole attack. Now Bruno or your wing-back are getting the ball on the half-turn rather than with their back to play. That's a cleaner second pass and a calmer possession. Being left-footed also changes the geometry. From the base, he can find the spare 10 on the far side quicker, and when he switches towards the left, the ball's natural arc moves away from recovering defenders, a safer switch that opens the wing-back. If the lane's narrow, he can slide one through that channel or clip it over the top. That's variety United have lacked. Defending transitions is mostly about the first 2 seconds after you lose it. Because his acceleration over short distances is so sharp, he can close the immediate threat and buy the team time to reset. It's the same burst you see in his aggressive recoveries, a metric where he ranked 3rd in the sample. Over 90 minutes, that trims the frantic sprints from the back line. Over a season, it lowers the danger you're exposed to. And when the press is on, he turns broken plays into territory. Keep stepping, steal the next touch, and shoot before the defense has found their shape again. It's simple to describe and hard to execute. He does it because he stays switched on after his first action. 2 shapes tell the story for how he fits: a 3-4-2-1 and a 3-5-2. Here, in Ruben Amorim's most common shape, he's the base and Bruno is the roaming playmaker 8 alongside him. Baleba handles the first receive and the early carry. Bruno can drift into the half spaces and arrive high without leaving a gaping hole because the 6 is secure behind him. The 2 10s stay connected to the 9, and suddenly United have a platform that feeds their creators without exposing the rest defence. Swap Bruno for Mainoo and the picture keeps a similar logic. Mainoo's press craft sets the trap, Baleba's hunger for the second ball collects the prize, and both have the carry to step beyond the first line when space appears. It's a young partnership, but the skill sets rhyme. One for the future, perhaps? However, where a new idea probably comes in is the possible implementation of the 3-5-2. The detail is very clear. Baleba and Mainoo as the pivot, with Bruno operating as the number 10 behind 2 strikers. With width from the wing-backs, the 10 can roam freely and time their runs, while the 6s holds the base and decides when to break the line with a carry or a pass. It gives you solidity and still preserves license for your creators. Recent samples support the theory. Tackles and interceptions stack up, you keep more of the ball in useful areas, the pressing doesn't drop off as the game gets stretched, and chance creation benefits because the platform is cleaner. It's not a magic trick, it's sensible football multiplied by athleticism. And just to round the picture out, when the game invites a shot, he's got the technique to take it, like that late winner against West Ham, the one that took goal of the month. You don't buy him for goals, but you will take them when he strikes for a ball like that. So what changes if he's in red? You get fewer sudden death transitions against, a pressure-proof first outlet in build-up, and a counter-press that doesn't just prevent danger, it creates chances. That's a different feeling for a team that's been living on a knife edge. Keep one image in your head: a loose ball, a breath of risk, and a midfielder sprinting into a gap that most players don't even see. That's Carlos Baleba,
And that's how a midfield resets itself. Ineos, don't hesitate for a moment. Get him in. Now.
If I could ask for one favor, please do drop a like, as it really helps us grow. Also, leave a comment on how you're enjoying this video so far, and be sure to subscribe if you would like us to continue making videos like these.